Hey guys, it's TJ here, and, well, you guessed it, we're doing another round of 30 and 30. It's round 2 Electric Boogaloo. Now, I won't take too much of your time. There are going to be standard intros going in, but this one's a little bit unique just to explain what we're doing. If you weren't here originally, we did 30 videos in just over 30 days from December through January, and suffice to say, now sitting at 15,000 subscribers, it did pretty well. This was just a way to jumpstart the channel and show that we can provide quality and quantity. Now, the reason we're doing it again earlier than planned, it was going to be in April, is because of the situation Vidith is currently facing. You can see the video on my channel if you want to know more. In short, YouTube's AI moderation system unfairly demonetized him, and he is currently appealing to get it back. He is a full-time YouTuber, and he has looked after many people in this community, and so it is important that we do the same for him. So, we propose doing 30 and 30 round 2 with a twist, alternating days. I will be starting off today, Vidith will take over the next day, and we'll go back and forth. We'll have some guests in between, but all the videos that Vidith uploads to this channel, he will keep the revenue for those at the end of the month, and we will keep doing this until he is back on his feet with his own channel, which we anticipate will hopefully not be long, but in the event it is, we need to make sure he's taken care of, because that's what we do here. So, if you have seen that before and you know what 3030 is, then fantastic, get ready. If you're new, it's going to be more of the same. Good quality stories by good, awesome authors with dynamic sound design and voice acting, which leads us into today's one. It's a classic by Limetime Live. If you enjoy these and you want to see more, please consider signing up to my Patreon for early access and to support the channel, and go to Vidith's Patreon if possible to support him as well. Either way, I can't wait for you to be on this journey. It's going to be a very exhausting one, so please leave a comment, share it with your friends, show us some solidarity as we go for round 2 of 30 and 30. I killed a monster using Geo-Guessing. Yep, I'm serious. Go back and reread the title. I'm just as shocked as you probably are. I'm chronicling my story online to maybe give someone else hope, in case they're also stuck in a situation like I was. I'm speaking to a few people directly when I say, are you having the same recurring dream? The one that feels way too realistic. It's not just a dream. You have a time limit on your life. Sorry to break the news to you like this, but good news? It's not a death sentence. I beat it. Maybe you can too. To the rest of you, let me fill you in on what I'm talking about. Vivid dreams are the worst, no matter what. You could have a wonderful dream, and when it ends, it frustrates you that it wasn't real. On the other hand, a vivid nightmare sticks with you. Countless husbands have been given the cold shoulder over a dreamed cheating, and many children swear the creature under their bed was right there. But when I tell you my dreams were vivid, please understand that I mean vivid. I can remember the very first night my dreams became vivid. It's not hard to remember what it was like. Though they happened in a different place every time, they all followed a very similar pattern. It always started on the street. I was standing on a street, staring at a home. Only, I knew it wasn't me. For one, I was way too tall in my dreams. Normally I'm an average height guy, but in those dreams, I could tell that I was easily 7 feet tall, based on doorways and such. After moments of staring, I would then proceed up to the house. If there was a gate, I'd just hop over it, or scale over a fence if I needed to. I never took the front door. Silently, I would creep to just the right window. I always knew which one. They were always unlocked. The room inside was always dark, and there was always one person inside, sleeping soundly. I'd creep towards the bed, and the other indicator that this was not my body made itself apparent. My clawed, pitch-black arm would slither up, out of my control and towards the person. I wished one of these people would wake up and snap me out of my dream. They never did. I'd extend my claw and lightly tap the person's sternum. Nothing more. What followed was a violent fit from the person in their sleep, as if they were choking or having a heart attack. In the dream, I would stare, motionless until their ragged, jerky movements ceased. Silence. The dream would fade. I'd awake in a cold sweat. I used to be shook for most of the day back when it first started. I would have this dream every night. The person I confided to first about these dreams was my closest friend, Ted. For as long as I've known Ted, he's been eccentric, I guess. He works at a local tourist trap as a crocodile handler in order to, as he put it, get on the good side of the reptilians to show he's one of the humans worth saving. Huh, typical Florida man. I have a hard time breaking down if he's serious most of the time, but surprisingly, he's a good listener. I was hanging out at his house watching TV as I explained to him what my dreams were like, and he nodded slowly, absorbing the picture.
So, in your dreams, you're a tall murderer creature that stops people's hearts or something?
I guess. I don't know, man. The worst part about these dreams is how real they feel. Like I'm actually there.
Do you smoke?
He asked, with his eyebrow raised at me. No, man. My job would can me if I did, so it couldn't be that.
Nah, man. I mean, like, maybe you should. You know? Mellow out.
He smiled at his own sage wisdom. You're an idiot, he shrugged.
You came to me? That's an error in your judgment.
That's fair, I guess.
Just don't sleep, bro. Problem solved. No dreams if you're not asleep.
He tapped his skull. Tried. Caffeine, energy shots, splashing water on my face, whatever. Once it reaches midnight, I crash. No matter how tired I am. Like clockwork.
Like, at the same time, no matter what.
I nodded.
That sucks. You're doomed then, I guess. Sorry about it.
He gave a cheeky grin.
In all seriousness, though, don't they have, like, sleep doctors? Try one of those.
You mean sleep therapy? I think that's really for people who have trouble sleeping, but I guess it wouldn't hurt. I looked crazy when I set up an appointment for sleep therapy. They ran some sleep tests, and they actually said I'd get a great night's sleep. The doctor was surprised by my frustration at the results. You want to get less sleep? I remember the confusion in his voice. Yeah, work's very demanding. I need to be able to sleep less so I have more time to work. It was a terrible lie, but the truth was stupider. Well, that's not really healthy. You need to prioritize a healthy sleep schedule. Okay, right, I got that. There are times when I need less sleep though, so hypothetically, what could I do on the days that I really need to crunch for work in order to healthily stay up as long as I can? The doctor pinched his brow with his hand and sighed. Keep your mind occupied. Do something that requires you to actively think. No podcasts or TV or anything like that. It should be something that requires focus. With his advice, I remember mulling over it for some time. Video games could be a viable option, but that could become costly, to buy new games constantly or invest in a better computer. I didn't want to invest in a new physical hobby either, like painting, putting money into something I might not even like. Writing? Forget it. Writing this out alone is a slog enough. I don't have the imagination or patience to write a book. That's when I stumbled upon someone online geo-guessing. For the uninformed, geo-guessing is when someone uses an online map to randomly place themselves somewhere on the globe, where they will then guess where they are. The closer they are to being right, the more points they earn. The goal is to be able to locate pretty quickly and accurately exactly where you are on a map. For me, this was perfect. No startup cost, plenty of strategies to learn, and the world is a pretty big place, so there was plenty of variety to keep my mind focused. So I jumped in. I spent my free time studying how to get better at guessing, and I would spend the late hours of the night honing my skills. The bad news was that I'd still become abnormally tired at 12 and pass out. The good news, however, was that I was keeping my mind preoccupied with geo-guessing beforehand, so while the inevitable still came, I wasn't just staring at the clock, waiting for it to happen. It was a little comfort, I guess. I don't remember how long after I started geo-guessing that my breakthrough came. I woke up from another horribly vivid nightmare and, in the stupor of the morning, tried to start my day. Somewhere in between having breakfast and brushing my teeth, the thought hit me. I know where that house is. I concentrated, trying to scrape together bits of the vivid dream. I recalled a sticker on a pole outside. The architecture was unique enough and the short dashed road lines were clear. I laughed out to myself, shaking my head. Romania. Did I dream of Romania? It seems so silly to geo-guess my dream, considering dreams are usually made up wobbly places in your skull. I tried to dismiss the thought and move about my day, but a tingling feeling in the back of my brain told me I was onto something. By the time my shift at work was over, I instantly hopped on my map app and started searching the streets of Romania. It took about 20 minutes, and when I saw it, I felt my throat dry and my hands clam up. I found it. The house I dreamed about. There was no mistaking it. I'd never seen that house before that day, and yet the night before, I dreamed I was a large creature entering that home and killing whoever slept there. It was surreal. It felt impossible. The questions only got worse the more I thought about it. How did I see this? Why was I dreaming this? Was every night a real place? Was every night a real person? Am I watching a real person die every night? I tried to think of logical explanations. I'm dreaming of real places because of all the geo-guessing I've done. I probably just forgot I'd seen that house and the countless places I had guessed. That night, I dreamed again. Another house, further into Romania. Again, I was able to find the home. Night after night, I would dream, and night after night, it was a real place. By the end of the week, I had created a line, each dot separated by miles, starting in Romania and ending in Hungary. At this point, there was something I had to do, to put a final nail in the coffin, so to speak. I know barely anything about Romania and Hungary, but through a process akin to pulling teeth, I was able to scrounge up some news about someone dying in their sleep. I recognized the picture of the man. He was in one of my dreams. I watched his last, sputtering breaths under a long, clawed hand. What do you do when you realize that every night you go to sleep, you're getting a front row show to someone's murder at the hands of a literal monster? For me, it was dissociation. A lot of ceiling staring. I wasn't exactly in the popular crowd at work, but even the few who would normally talk to me seemed to avoid me that week. Between my sunken eyes and thousand-yard stares, it was hard to imagine why. Now I had answers to some of my previous questions, but these answers only led to more questions, which had enough of a pull to knock me out of my stupor. The big questions at that point were as follows. 1. Why am I seeing this? Why me? 2. What is this thing? I felt like a moron searching up things like, I dream of monsters killing people but real. But cut me some slack. I just found out that monsters were real. Most of my results were a lot of people telling fake stories, pretending they're real. Imaginative, engaging, but not helpful. Days went by, and I was getting nowhere with my research. I continued to geo-guess and map this thing's trip, and by that time, it was in the middle of Austria. Finally, my search for answers led me to a pretty off-the-path website, buried a few pages deep in my search engine. It was a forum for people talking about their experiences with sleep paralysis. The part that caught my eye the most was the section about sleep paralysis demons. In hindsight, it made so much sense. People unable to move, feeling a pressure on their chest, often seeing shadowy creatures. This was it. This website was what I was looking for. I quickly made an account and read through as many posts as I could, learning about the types of sleep paralysis demons and seeing if anyone shared a similar experience to mine. I was surprised to find just how many different types of sleep paralysis demons there were. Some saw witches, others saw literal devils on their chest, and some saw shadowy men in the corner of their rooms. Whatever they looked like, this forum had surmised that these demons feed off the fear and energy of their host without killing them. This left me confused. Then why is the demon that I see killing people? Digging a little deeper, I noticed that some people were asking questions about a demon that closely followed what I was seeing. They'd have dreams about other people being killed by some shadowy creature, and they would always see the dream from the perspective of the demon. Every single one of these users eventually stopped posting, which led me to the truth I'd been trying to deny. I was on this thing's list. The geoguessing data I'd been keeping all but confirmed it. It moved from Austria to Italy, France, Spain, and now Maine. It had all of the East Coast to get through before it came to my neck of the woods in Florida. But at that point, I knew time was ticking for me. I needed to find a way to stop this thing from coming. Maybe pass it along to someone else. Anything to get me off the hook. I was desperate for answers. So, I sent a private message to the head moderator for the Sleep Paralysis Demon Forum, a user by the name of The Creepy Caster. Hey, Creepy Caster. Listen, I don't mean to bother you, but I think I have a special demon on my hands. And I wanted to see if maybe you'd have any additional knowledge to help me out. So, my demon, I get dreams from this thing's perspective. And multiple times a week, I dream of this thing killing people. I don't know anything about sleep paralysis demons, and I just wanted to see if you maybe had any suggestions or knew anything to help me out. About an hour or so later, I got his response. Hey, Sleepless in Florida. Yeah, I got a suggestion for you. If you have any loved ones, say goodbye to them. If what you're saying is true, you've been targeted by the touch of death itself. I came up with the name. I don't know how to put this lightly, so I won't. You're cooked. Anyone who's ever asked about the same thing you're asking about stops posting, and it's probably not because they made friends with the demon. No one's ever killed a sleep paralysis demon before, and there's proof that some out there just kill people. Just go look up SUNDS if you don't believe me. Sorry about your luck. Thanks for being a member in the forum. I reread his message a few times, letting the words sink in. Sure enough, I did look up SUNS, Sudden Unexpected Nocturnal Death Syndrome. I laughed bitterly at the thought. Yeah, I solved the unexpected death part. Turns out it's just a demon that likes to torture you before it kills you. Great, a Nobel Prize was within my grasp. The part of his message that stung the worst was the part about loved ones. My parents were long gone, I had no siblings and no love interests in my life. Part of me wondered if that's why I was targeted. I was easy prey. I won't lie, I fell into a state of hopelessness. I continued to track the demon's location as it crawled down the East Coast. It was a weird feeling to know that I'm gonna die and, at the same time, thinking there was nothing I could do about it. The day it all turned around was the day I met up with Ted to say my goodbyes. When I came over, he was out in his backyard setting up empty cans, gun in hand. Hey Ted, thanks for letting me come over. I really appreciate it. Wait, is that a Zune? Ted held up the ugly brown and green device.
Of course it is. No one tracks outdated tech, and this thing works just fine.
I shook my head. Alright, whatever. Doesn't matter. I know I've been a little flaky lately, but I was wanting to say goodbye and let you know you can have whatever you want from my house. He paused and raised an eyebrow at me.
What? It seems a little out of the blue, don't you think?
Yeah, well, those dreams I told you about a few weeks ago? Found out I'm being hunted by a demon. It's coming for me soon. Normally, this would get a laugh out of someone, or they'd probably think I'm crazy. Ted, however, just nodded, like we were talking about the weather.
How do you know this?
Alright, I'll try to give you the short version. About 45 minutes later, I wrapped up my explanation. So, yeah, it's on the way, and there's nothing I could do about it. So I wanted to give you some closure before it gets here. There was a heavy silence from Ted as he digested my words. Finally, he shrugged.
You ain't dead yet. Actually, I think you have the best chance of taking this thing out.
Somehow, despite me being the one approaching him with this crazy information, now I was the one flummoxed. Did you just zone out on what I was saying, dude? He shook his head.
No. Heard every word. So your boy's coming to get you, because you live alone, but you have an advantage that no one else had. You know it's real, and you know where it is. I bet every poor guy who died before you didn't know it was too late until they saw themselves in the eyes of the demon. But you can prepare.
Prepare how? I'll be paralyzed. What, you want me to set up some marbles by the window so I at least can see this thing stumble over before it kills me? Ted laughed.
Fine, but no. Answer's pretty simple, bro.
He aimed his shotgun in his makeshift target practice and let off a loud shot, bits of cans shredding into the air.
We shoot it. With a gun.
I was frustrated with Ted. Shoot it? Do you hear yourself? Just shoot the demon like it's that easy. The guy online said no one has killed one of these before.
Yeah, dude. Because no one had known it was coming before. You think people who were dying of this thing in the Middle Ages were geo-guessing the location of demons? Hell, man, they didn't even know they should wash their hands. I bet they just wake up and say, "Yep, Pa died in his sleep because his humerus was out of whack," or some garbage like that. We can make history here. Be the first to bag a demon. Like I said, you ain't dead yet. So let's make a plan to keep it that way.
We spent hours going over what could potentially be a way to save me. It felt ridiculous, but Ted was right. I might have been the first person to know where this thing even was. It might have been just the knowledge that we needed in order to actually do something about it. That night, when I left with a plan, there was still a bit of unease, but at that point, what other option did I have? Each morning, I continued to track where the creature was the night before. Once it reached Georgia, I remember letting Ted know that it was close, and that the plan was on. I'll never forget the night I saw my own house in the dream. I was so used to seeing all these different houses, and once inside, the different faces. But here I was, in front of my own home, the cicadas buzzing in the trees on a humid summer night. There was a moment of fear that went through me. What if this doesn't go right? What if this demon is linked to my mind and knows what we have planned for it? It was useless to think about these what-ifs at the time. The demon was already in motion. I watched from its eyes as it approached my bedroom window. There, it stared down at me. I was staring at my own self, fast asleep on the bed. I watched the demon's hands grasp the base of the windowsill and slowly creep their way inside. Its eyes were locked onto my sleeping frame the whole time, just as I had hoped. It moved its way to the side of my bed, no sound of footsteps despite its towering frame. This was it. Do or die. The silence of the room was broken by the simple sound of a shotgun being racked. The demon's vision spun, and there, tucked in the corner of the room, was my buddy Ted, with a shotgun at the ready. He smiled.
Buenos dias, you ugly mother.
I don't know if it was the sound of the shotgun or the slug hitting the demon directly in the chest that woke me up, but in an instant, my vision shifted from the demon's point of view to my own, as I stared at the lumbering nightmare creature in my room. It had a solid shape, though slightly fuzzy at its edges, like when you squint looking at a light. I didn't have much time to sit in bed and admire my new friend. It was time to act. I grabbed the snare on a pole from under the covers. Ted's work let him keep most of his equipment, and quickly looped the snare around the thing's neck to hold it in place for another shot without letting it get near us with its hands. I was able to bring the demon down to its knees as it struggled, letting Ted line up a shot directly for its dome. Black tar leaked from the hole in the middle of its chest. Now, Ted! Now! Another rack of the shotgun. Another ear-piercing noise as the slug found its mark, tunneling into the faceless head of the large figure. Immediately, its body went slack as more black ooze bubbled from the hole in its head. The large demon collapsed onto the floor with no apparent movement. Ted fired another 3 shots to make sure it wasn't just plain dead. Both of us stared at the body for an hour or so, unmoving, my hand firmly on the snare pole, and Ted at the ready to put more lead into the demon. But it didn't move. The fuzzy-edged body lay in a pool of black tar, as still as the night itself. I broke the silence as I heard the birdsong outside, signifying the approach of morning. We just gave an audience one hell of a dream. Ted smiled back.
We probably just saved a whole bunch of people, didn't we?
I nodded. Probably. Now help me move this thing out back. Don't touch its hands either. Don't know if they're still lethal. We dragged that thing out to my backyard and buried it in a hole we finished digging a week or so earlier. I haven't had a dream since. Most heartfelt greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. I eagerly welcome you to Sturgeon's most premier station, Dusk Light Radio, hosted by yours truly, the effervescent, ethereal, and immersive Everett J. Blackwell. This mysterious tale of location guessing deductions of demons was written and crafted by the phenomenal Lime Time Live. You can see more of Lime Time's work linked in the description below, and another one of their stories on the channel from the last 30 and 30, Intrusive Thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other transmissions. We're adding them regularly, and we'd love to have you as part of the Dusklight family by subscribing, hitting the bell of snakes, and you guessed it, more snakes, and leave a comment with stories you'd love for my many-legged runners to find. Now, I want to thank all of our patrons for making this possible. If you want to sign up, it's as little as $1 a month and you get exclusive content, early access videos and stories, updates, and more. But times are tough and we will always be grateful for support no matter what form it comes in. Financial, spiritual, corporeal, maniacal, whatever you want. It really helps us out. Dusklight gives thanks to, first, our Sturgeonite faithfuls, Sabrina Alexander, Laree W, PRDL12, Jason Webb, Jimmy Ricardo, 21 Keys, Jack the Lad, Nathan Billings, J.I. Lara, Val Was Taken, Amy Walrath, Dexter, Heather Gee, P. Tripp, Super Abyss, and Morgan Ra. Our Purple Crayon Eaters, Feeny Von Karma, Max, Phi, Amara, Ashabel, Candyman Gloving, Mike, Alex, Gail Allstott, Echo Kion, Ian Hancocks, and Kendra Wilson. Our janitors, Alex Nunez, Arkham Cookie, Amy, Adrian R., Heather Cayley, Scott, Death31, Sabila Eclipse, Joy Flint Healy, Dux, Shane Lewis, and Allie. Our Nightmare Detectives, Fox Clifford and Melanie Schaefer. Our Void Walkers, Professor Creepypasta, Rat Squatch, and Josh Woods. And lastly, our Blackwell family members. Great Uncle Ven Blackwell with his forbidden knowledge, Izzy Blackwell, our resident bug devourer, Adela Blackwell's fire mending and illusions, Ethan Blackwell, abyssal fisher and repo lord, Jackal Blackwell, head chef and mystery meat purveyor, Clue Blackwell, the chrysalis of unknowable horrors, Tabitha Blackwell, void water baron and forever frenemy to our last entrant, Papa Kyle Blackwell, from his tower of bones, broth and spines, preparing for the outer gods to recognize his claim. We love and fear you, Papa, and we thank all of you humbly for your patronage and look to see you bright and early for Dusklight orientation. Purple crayons and existential dread will be provided. And one last time, listeners, close your eyes and breathe with me. Remember, no matter how bad things are, how cruel people can be, and how heavy your shoulders may feel with the weight of the world bearing down on them, Dusklight will always be here to lift the load and provide you with some respite. Drink some hot cocoa with chocolate sprinkles and fat marshmallows. Have all the Christmas candy you can manage, watch a video about liminal spaces and cryptid sightings, and sleep on the cool side of the pillow with the window open and the stars twinkling down on you. Start and end each day with kindness in your heart. You matter, you are loved, and every day is another chance. I'll see you again when the sun sets and dusk enters the station.